Hello, Alex here, Miss Yap, students. This is my book report. Well, my book is about King Henry VIII and his 6 wives. Let me start off with this book. This book has to be one of the most boringest, factual books I've ever read. It's like reading off of a history book. It literally is like a textbook. It smells like a textbook, feels like a textbook. It's a textbook. There's even a few pictures in here with all the 6 wives together. But let me just first start out by telling you the title and the author. The title of this book is The 6 Wives of Henry VIII. The author of the book is Antonia Fraser. She is from England, and she is a historian in the English department of Cambridge University. She wrote this book because she had a strong interest of King Henry VIII. I have no idea why, but off reading the book, he was a psychopath. This book is just, it's very boring, and it's very vague. Let me start about the beginning of the book. The beginning of the book just shows Henry and him marrying his first wife, which is Catherine of Aragon from Spain. Originally, Catherine from Aragon was supposed to marry his brother, but mysteriously, his brother died right after Henry had a sexual interest with Catherine of Aragon. Like a gentleman, he waited 6 months. By the time 6 months of his brother's death, until he asked Catherine of Aragon for a date, which she accepted because she wanted to marry a king. Catherine of Aragon married King Henry VIII, but then divorced. Why? Because Henry was only 14 years old. His older brother was king of England before he was. He was only 14. King Henry's brother was next on the throne, but his brother mysteriously died, like I said, leaving him with Catherine of Aragon. Henry then had 5 wives after Catherine of Aragon, which all mysteriously died, with different sequences of events. The London War was when King Henry was in office, or as in king. He had all 6 wives throughout the London War, and all mysteriously died. One, on the other hand, one survived, but you have to read the book if you want to know which one survived. And it's very interesting on how she survived. Or did she escape? I don't know. I'm going to have to leave you to it. Let me just name off his 6th wife. The first, like I said, Catherine from Aragon. She was a princess of Spain at the time. The next was Anne Boleyn. She, I can tell you, got killed. Let me tell you how. This book is literally a live literature Jerry Springer show. It's an analytical research about how his wives were born, how they were raised up, how he married them, how he divorced, how life was lived without his wives by his side, which is very. I thought when I was gonna read this book, I thought I was gonna obtain a lot of history knowledge of how London was run by King Henry VIII and how he was as a person, but it literally is just about his love life, literally like a Shakespeare book. Ironically, it was Shakespeare's time. I'm not aware if Shakespeare has written about King Henry on one of his poems or plays or anthems. I have no idea. The next wife was Jane Seymour. She was tough. She was one of the tougher wives. Jane Seymour she didn't take no for an answer. She put up with King Henry. Every time King Henry wanted her to make him food, she was a nutshell. She denied it, and it cost her life eventually. But she was the one that suffered more. She suffered domestic violence with King Henry. She suffered how they never slept together. King Henry always went to cabarets and slept with other women except his wife, which I have no understanding. If you have a wife and you're king, why marry the woman of your dreams if you're just going to go out and cheat on your wife? It's very hypocritical. The next was Anne Cleves, then Catherine Howard, then Catherine Parr. By the looks of it, King Henry had a lot of interest with Catherines and Annes, since he had 3 wives named Catherine and 2 wives named Anne. I don't know. I don't know, I think he has a fetish or something. Other than that, I would rate this book about a low 4. I give it a 4 because it's very factual. I sort of take it off of my part also that I didn't really look into this book enough when I first picked it out of the library, and I thought when I first saw the cover it had horses on it. It has King Henry with his giant staff and his sword going off to battle, and his wives were on the back. And I just thought his wives were there just for support, but mostly it should be called The Six Wives of King Henry VIII, just his wives in parentheses, because it really has nothing to do with Henry other than him cheating on them and murdering them. So I gave it a low 4 because I thought it was going to be with a lot of history, with a lot of knowledge towards what, like I said, what was going on in London at the time of the plague, and some more analytical knowledge that I can obtain to use later in the future. But it literally, like I said, was a live Jerry Springer show, just drama within the family, with King Henry and the wives cheating and like bad words back and forth. It was just a chick flick in a book. It literally was just a disappointment. You said to include props, so I have the Eiffel Tower, which has nothing to do with London at the time. It has nothing to do with England. I'm sorry, has nothing to do with England. Well, one of his wives was from Paris, so you can give me that. His wife Anne Boleyn was from Paris. She was a princess of France. She was supposed to marry the king of France, which was her cousin, which is kind of weird. But she ended up being Princess of England when she was going to marry King Henry VIII. But like I said, it really not turned out as good for her because she ended up, like I said, dying. I already told you 4 wives have died. Maybe you can guess which one of the wives survived and how she survived. And, well, like I said, this book wasn't really much. I was hoping for more. Antonia Fraser, you're a really good historian, but this book wasn't just for me. So that's the end of my book report video, analytical, summarizing the book, because it's literally a 1,000-page word book. It has an index. It has an index and a glossary. That's how you know it's going to be a strong, hard to understand book. And I had to ask a lot of teachers for help, like Mr. Dershmir. I asked, what do these words mean? I didn't ask you because I was going to tell you anyway on this book report. Sorry, but I'll talk to you more if you want to ask more about the book. Yeah, I don't recommend it. It's very general and broad. It has a meaning if you're into divorce, if you're going to be a domestic lawyer or something. But other than that, I don't recommend the book for teenagers at all.